On today's show, I'll be talking about Jennifer Gonzalez update to the Teacher's Guide to Technology. I'll tell you more at the end of the show about this 265-page guide that'll be coming out on January 7th and give you a link. Over the last several Mondays, we've been doing a multi-part series with Pam Moran. The first week, we talked about testing and education reform in Virginia. The second week, 4 topics from virtual reality to helping new teachers understand the modern classroom. And this week, we're talking about kids co-creating the curriculum. And she even talks about some cool things that are happening with drones in the classroom. So today, we have episode 241, Kids Co-Creating Curriculum. Thanks, Pam Moran, for coming on the show.
The 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with Vicki Davis. Every weekday, you'll learn powerful, practical ways to be a more remarkable teacher today.
Well, I have to tell you this, Pam, because I can't even remember how long it's been since you and I met, but just how much you've shaped me in understanding that we can have educational excellence in less testing. We don't have to give up rigor. We don't have to give up challenging and helping kids think. You don't have to choose. You don't have to choose testing or education. I mean, you can have a great education in some tests, but tests don't have to be everything.
That's right. The assessment piece is, it's important for kids. I mean, I love that we're seeing more and more engagement of our kids in, things that this kind of fascinates me is watching kids want to jump in and help design curriculum. We've had some kids in the county that have co-created curriculum with teachers around things that are of interest to them, such as how to create music in a sound studio and building an elective from that. I was over in one of the elementary schools the other day, and 3 years ago, we were all in awe and kind of gaga about a high school student who was all in with drones, building and flying and learning about aviation and drones with his high school peers. And then he'd moved it down to middle school. He's actually been back. He's taking a gap year. He actually ran for school board. And he's now going back and teaching some middle schoolers aviation as kind of a volunteer teacher. But I was in an elementary school, and the 2 teachers in this multi-age space that we have at one of our elementary schools had decided that rather than spending the money that they had on supplies this year, because they said we have plenty of supplies, markers and this and that, they decided to buy a drone for the class.
Oh.
The teacher, amazingly, said, see these 2 kids over here? Those are the drone pilots. And their job is to teach all the other kids how to fly this drone. So I'm talking to these 2 kids. They want to take me outside and show me how they're able to fly this drone. They show me they've developed their own little curriculum and their assessment for learning to use the drone. And they have a place where kids can sign up for class with them 5 at a time.
Wow.
This other little kid comes over and says, hey, can I go outside? I want to see what you're doing. And I said to the 2 kids, I said, well, I thought you were the 2 that really, oh no, he's had his private lesson. He's good. So they will take me out. But I'm thinking to myself about how do kids become, because of the tools and because of teachers who empower them to be a part of the process of teaching and learning, see themselves as helping to co-create curriculum, assessments. Some of our most amazing feedback I get from parents are in some of our schools that have really embraced student-led conferencing, where the parents come in and the kids are literally, they've developed their portfolios and they're taking the parents through their learning work for the recent period of time. And the kids are doing that. And the teachers are kind of observing and they're there in support, but they're not the show. The kids are the show. Today I was in a school that's using Seesaw, and the kids pick things that they want to share with their parents. And this little girl showed me some math work that she had done, and they'd snapshotted it and were sending it to the parent. And she'd written underneath it, Mom, I did this myself.
Oh.
And I'm thinking that as kids become more empowered to see themselves not just as learners, but also as teachers in the process, that what we're going to see is an incredibly different kind of commitment to what it means to be a learner when you own it and you have a sense of agency that's not agency by proxy, where you're relying on somebody else to give you agency, but it's happening because you own your own agency. So I think that's kind of cool. If I was saying that's something that I would be foreshadowing as a next generation shift, I'd love to see that as something that we really support up teachers to develop. And one of the things that I think that, Vicki, that teachers have to do, which I know you do, and I see the work that you're doing with kids, and that is you have to give up control as the adult.
Oh, yeah.
And shift that sense of power from the adult to the student as a learner in order to get that sort of a deep commitment, and for kids to actually see that learning is something that's important for the sake of learning, not just because they're doing it for somebody else's purpose or benefit. And so, I'm kind of excited about that.
I love this whole idea really of student-led, not learning, but student-led teaching.
Yes. Isn't that cool? And
it's awesome.
And I see that all over with, what I call, it's almost like a pop-up mentality. Sometimes I'll walk in and I discover a teacher that I wasn't aware of in the system, because we've got, over 1,200 teachers in Albemarle. And I'll run into somebody that maybe is newer on the scene, like a young guy that's in one of our high schools who's a career switcher. And, he's probably 30 something and I think somebody told me he actually was involved in a brewery before he became a teacher, which I think is probably not a bad thing. He teaches an environmental course, and his kids, and he decided they wanted to put in beehives. The next thing I know, we've got beehives going in this school. The kids are, using it as both science as well as entrepreneurship. And I'm over there, and these kids are teaching me. They're put me in the white suit. They're opening up the hives. They're showing me everything. And they're putting Arduino-powered probes in there so that they can really monitor some things that would be data inputs. They're able to take a look at what happens over the course of the year in terms of temperatures inside the hives. What are some of the other variables that are important for them to take a look at? And, the next thing I know, they're in front of the school board, giving the school board pints of honey that they've already been able to pull out of their hives, which kind of was remarkable. And so I think about those kids become not just learners in a classroom where they're moving through standards, heading towards a test, but they're becoming a part of the learning process, both as teacher and as learner. And that, there are adults who are going to them now and saying, hey, I want you to tell me about this. I want to learn about this. What could I do if I wanted to put hives in myself? So, it's kind of cool to see just what happens when you let go of the control and let the kids work, and their interest and their enthusiastic curiosities kind of take us and push us down the stream versus us trying to pull them behind us down the stream. So it's kind of cool.
All of this is just so deep, and I'm so blown away. And Jennifer Gonzalez has updated her teacher's guide to technology. You can just go to coolcatteacher.com/guide to find out more information on this 265-page guide of more than 150 tools. And she's added 44 new tools this year to her digital handbook. Also, she'll be opening up the Jumpstart course as well as Jumpstart Plus, which will be a new cohort model for this. So I love the Teacher's Guide to Tech. I actually do admit that I do actually print a copy out to share with other teachers and have at my desk as a reference, because it's a great how-to about all of the popular technology tools that are being used now. So again, that's coolcatteacher.com/guide, and that will take you to the 2018 Teacher's Guide to Technology. Hope you enjoy.
Thank you for listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. You can download the show notes and see the archive at coolcatteacher.com/podcast. Never stop learning.